Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. We're going to be doing a test for T5 Firestorm Abyss, and the reason I started thinking about this was that today I was looking through the Abyss filament market, looking at the prices of filaments. They're a little bit different than I remember them being. I remember that gammas, they've always been around 10 million mark. I was in particular looking at the T6 filaments. If we do on cataclysmics, and the gammas, they've gone up a bit in price. I remember I bought a bunch of gammas. You know, when I keep making videos of gamma sites that I do, I have a big stash of gamma filaments that I bought a long time ago for about 10 million. And then I was just looking at what the price of the other ones. So the exotic is 20 million. That's like it's always been. Sort of electrical's 50. That's also quite normal. Dark has also been quite high, a little bit higher than before. I think it used to go for 20 million because these are good to use in hawks, I believe. And then firestorms, however, this is something I noticed that these were really high. So I was like, okay, all these filaments here, they seem to be very expensive. So if I want to do some kind of abyss site in T6, it's very difficult to combine with a very cheap filament like the other tiers of abyss, because it used to be that these T6 firestorms went for like 2-3 million, something like that, but now it's got a lot more. I mean, it's still very low price in relation to how much loot you get, but it's significantly more than it was before. Look here, you see. It's about 6 million. It was like a lot different before, almost double the price. But I decided that, okay, I'm going to check what the value of the filaments are on the T5s then, since they're not going to give as good loot as T6, but it's still going to give pretty good loot. The thing gamma is pretty standard, exotic also pretty standard, electrical, it's a little bit on the low side actually, and darks also pretty good price. Firestorms, however, really cheap, only 2 million is per filament, so it's almost pure profit you get directly straight away. Previously I've been testing different types of passive fits for T5 Firestorm as well as hybrid fits, and the reason for this is because it will be nice, like you can often crush these filaments by just brute forcing through with a really good active tank fit that's just got as much shield boosting capabilities as possible for your Gila. But I like the idea of using a hybrid or passive fit, because then you have a bigger buffer, and what this does is that when you have like potential gankers, it increases the likelihood of you surviving. And previously I have actually tried T5 Firestorm in a passive fit, and I had then this one here. If I had T5 Fire, and this ship here has a lot of shield HP per second. That's because it's got purges here in the mids. However, I want to do a test and see how it feels if I go with extenders. Extenders are going to give us a massive buffer. It's going to take us a lot longer time though to regenerate our HP, but I think it might give us some benefit having a really big buffer. I mean, if we compare 250 to 187 is a significant amount of HP loss, 70 HP per second, but it might be worth the extra buffer because this is a really massive buffer we've got going on. And the best thing about this fit is that it doesn't use any kind of capacitor in terms of its tanking capabilities. Previously I've been trying to use this hybrid fit for high tier filaments like the T6 gammas, and newts caused a big problem. Now with this fit I'll not have to worry at all about newts. But the problem here now is I need to find a system that is able to do the T5s without giving me suspect. So we can look for a close 0.6 system and see there is Sasio 5 jumps. I know there's a system called Van Kalen here. I'm not sure if is this yeah, it's a 0.6. Okay, we'll go there. I just want to double check that T5s allow us to, yeah, it's suspect in 0.8 and 0.6 system. Okay, so we'll go there. We've got Hammerhead IIs. Put these to DPS, and then put these Federation Navy ones to faction, or tanky. And I could have actually had 3 damage modules, but I opted in for shield power relay because it gives us a really big amount of shield HP per second. Otherwise, you could argue that, I mean, DPS is another form of tank, because the faster you kill stuff, the less stuff is going to be able to kill you, especially in a buffer style. But I think it's good to have some amount of HP per second regen, because it's going to take a really long time for our HP to fully regen on this ship here. But I mean, 100k EHP is pretty good because we'll be able to perhaps survive smaller gank fleets. I mean, you have a big enough gank fleet, you're sooner or later going to get destroyed. But the great thing about this fit is that it's not extremely expensive. 600 million ISK is, I mean, a significant amount of ISK, but for doing T5 sites, it's actually pretty low. The main cost here is the implants. We've got a high-grade Nirvana set. Now, this costs multiple billions. The thing is, it's a lot harder to get the implant set killed over the ship. And gankers are more often after your ship rather than your implants, because if they destroy your ship, that's where the valuable modules drop, where they can get profit. So for like as an anti-gank measure, you can reduce the risk or reduce the likelihood of you having big losses by going heavy on the implants and low on your ship. And I think that's especially good here when we've got a really big buffer ship that's able to have a lot of buffer to survive perhaps gankers such as tornadoes or even the catalysts. Coercers I find to be actually the most common type of ganking ship as of like the last couple of years. Let's go to Van Kalen here. I have been ganked in the system before, so it's not like a particularly safe system. We'll try anyway. I think it will go alright in this T5 firestorm. The thing I think that will be an issue is that say we take a lot of damage in a wave, we'll maybe have, I don't know, 50% shields. But the problem is we have so slow regen, it's going to take a long time for it to get back. So then we get to the next wave, and if we have another difficult wave in the next room, then it's going to we're going to like be at a big disadvantage when we go into the next wave. That's the reason why I like hybrid fits. And a possible benefit to having good regen is that you can regen up all your shields, so that when you go into the next room you have max shields, maximum buffer, to be able to get through the abyssal entities. Okay, let's go. T5 firestorm. Okay, this is super easy. Let's just go straight through. We do not even have to care about those newts, but we're just gonna focus on destroying everything as quick as possible. Deploy drones, please. 17 million ISK. So already the filament has been paid off in multiple times over. The sleeper waves do take a little bit longer than they otherwise would, since these are armor-based ships. They have bigger armor around the firestorm site. And I mean, yeah, we're getting used out, but who cares? Who cares? When you're able to tank and not worry about capacity. The only issue is that our Afterburner won't be able to be used, but that could be a problem in Charybdis Tyrannus, so we would want to take out the neuters there. Otherwise, I think it will be very minimal, the threat of newts. Got 75% HP like this. I want to just take out as much DPS as possible on the enemy side, so that we can start getting like a positive shield, so that we can start regenning. Minimize the total damage we take throughout a wave, because it's all about just having a big buffer here and having a big enough buffer to be able to survive the wave, because I mean our HP per second regen is not a whole lot, so this means that if we just sit still and do nothing, we could eventually die over time. Here we're more focusing on having a big enough buffer to be able to destroy the enemies in time before they catch up with our shields. And the regen is more just to get shields back up when it's needed. Deploy. Why can't I can't use the hotkey, like I can't deploy them like that. That's strange. Some glitch or something? Preservers refusing to die. We should actually go for the damage dealers. It will be a better idea. But perhaps do not use Afterburner at this point in time. Because Hammerhead is taking a bit of damage, trying to regen his shields, but they keep taking damage. There we go, that's good. We got about 75% HP back after this wave. It's always really hard to get a shield HP up when you're at the higher end of the spectrum here on the total shield capacity. It's really low. When you're down here, it's going to be really fast. Easy, Lucid Preserver. Completed that in just over 4 minutes. Good time as well. Next room. Now, the idea here is that you've got a pretty chill setup. You're able to survive perhaps a gank is a bit more likely than you otherwise would be, and you also have a very low investment in terms of the filament cost, so it's just going to be like, okay, I don't care too much if the loot is bad, I'm still always going to get out in a profit, and there's less likelihood of me dying to abyssal gangs. And then you've not got a really expensive ship, so if you do now lose your ship to ganks, it's still not going to be the whole world. You could probably replace it within just a few sites. There we go, good. What missile? I've got Inferno Fury, okay. Our DPS for Tech 2s is 774. Why is it 774? I thought it was a bit more than 774. Could it be if I was using the augmentors, then I was 800? Because I believe I had 800 DPS. It could also be that my implants are not really focused on being good for damage. Because I did have previously a clone that had good damage implants. And I saw 800 DPS. Oh, there's a Vedmak as well. Could be good to take him out. Let's get that guy. Oh, his shield's really just melted. But he's going to have quite a bit of a tank there. Destroyed. Now let's go for the ghoster here. 50% HP left. So we have taken a significant amount of damage. Tons of Damavix. I still don't understand why I can't use this radio menu to deploy these guys. It's really annoying. Recall these drones and deploy new ones. It's taking so much damage. I have to click here to launch drones instead. When I get my missiles back online or reloaded, we'll be able to destroy these guys a lot quicker. Because the missiles apply decently with this Gila. Rapid lights. Look how much they're shooting our drones. Really high amount of damage these guys are taking. But luckily no casualties yet. The more Damavix we also destroy, the quicker it's going to go because they're all remote repairing each other. So the less Damavix alive, the less that they can remote repair with. Oh, look, our HP is going down. Below 50% now. Our max amount of HP regen is around 25-30%. So this is what I mean with having a big buffer and going to the next room. Like, say the next room is a really tough one, or one that has a lot of incoming damage, like this one here. I mean, I'm only going to have 50%. Oh, medium mutaplasmid. And say the next room is this same one, then I'm going to have, what, 0%. Now, the second half of your HP is a bit more difficult for them to break than your upper half, because your HP is per second regen is highest around here, it's lowest around here. Also it's quite low down here, like at the very, very lowest percent. Ooh, Hammerhead's taking a lot of damage. Could maybe deploy some of these tanky ones, since we're taking so much drone aggro here. The issue is that these Damavix have also managed to spool up quite a bit as well, that's why we're taking quite a bit of damage. Keep it range 500. Seems like our region is struggling to get above 50% because of the amount of damage these Damavix are doing, since they've been continuously, like, they've got max spool all the time now. These guys are hard to shake in a Gila that's pretty slow. Now we're getting more HP, 54%. We can see how little enemies we have to get even the slightest positive amount of HP. It's very difficult. Our main tank is not our regen, it's our buffer. I think you could have a good compromise between buffer and regen, because sometimes when you've got waves that have so much damage, your regen is going to be quite insignificant because they're going to do so much more damage than your regen. The aspect of your shield that allows you to survive the most is just your pure buffer. Because, I mean, even though we've got large shields, if we had purges here for regen, or we had extenders here for buffer, your HP per second is still not going to be pretty low in relation to your total shield buffer. So some waves could put more stress on you, or so much stress that your buffer is going to play a bigger role of you surviving. Now, that's when a buffer could be good, because it allows you to survive longer. Because if you take, like, say, you take 10 times more damage than your regen, then your regen is hardly going to play a big of a difference. The main thing that's going to dictate how fast you survive is your buffer. If you take lower amounts of damage that's like maybe even less than your regen, then you're going to be invincible, you'll never die. So it depends a little bit of the ratio of incoming DPS to your buffer. I think it could use some tweaking. I'm not sure which is optimal for the Abyss though. I would like to deploy these Hammerheads, but they're really battered up. That's good. Look, we're back to 74% actually. That's great. And that's also probably why that second wave, or the previous one, felt a little bit more difficult than the first one, because we had already taken a bit of damage from the first wave. And then we came into the second wave at 75 HP. The first wave we came in at 100% HP. So overall I think it was a good work from the Gila here. Even these tanky drones are starting to take a bit of damage, but not as much as the other ones. They've got about double the amount of HP as the Tech 2 variants. 50% HP now. Oh, nice. Chaotic Exotic. Those are pretty valuable T5 filaments. So 72 million ISK and 2 million went on the filament cost, so it's 70 million ISK pure profit. Perfect. Really nice. Not as much as T6, but still pretty high, and it's going to be quite a bit more chilled than T6 as well. It's a good alternative to T6, I would say. I'm still not sure if this fit would be able to survive the different abyss waves, though. I can imagine maybe Charybdis Tyrannos, if you end up in a bad angle, might give you some whipping. But otherwise, it seems pretty solid with the high-grade Nirvana implants. You usually are a pretty tough nut to crack in the Gila in general. And keep it range here. And if you want to optimize your chances of surviving ganks as much as possible, you could always wait here just as much time as you can until you have like almost 100% shields, and then jump out so you have maximum chance of surviving. One thing that I forgot to mention actually with this fit that is made for the firestorm sites is that I've got the thermal shield amplifier, and this is a lot to do with that we're doing the firestorm sites, reduces our thermal resist, but also because a lot of the significant damage types or incoming damage types in the abyss are thermal based. These guys do EM and thermal. Concord waves do a ton of damage, they do a lot of thermal. Tree Lavians do a lot of thermal. So a lot of thermal needs to be dodged in the abyss, and especially in the firestorm sites where thermal resist is reduced even more than it usually is. Great. 5 minutes until warp field collapse. I mean, this is not the fastest Gila because we've got Tech 2 damage modules and only 2 of them. Wait, it's a tanky boy. Okay, let's recall those drones. Hope for no gankers. Let's go. I'm just going to jump anyway. We have 73% HP. There doesn't seem to be anyone here. No one's bothered to gank here. But that's it. Passive fit buffer style T5 Firestorm Gila. I definitely would have to do more tests to make sure that it is a reliable fit, but I have hopes that it could be a nice chill way to do T5 Firestorm, a really profitable type of filament type. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.